All right, this video is going to work out examples from angle addition postulate color by number. And we're going to actually work out 6, 8, I know 6 and 8. Let's start there first. So let's do 6. So I'm going to show you on the screen here. This is what it looks like. Again, let's read what it says. It says the measure of angle EFG. So EFG. So that's the big one. So the big angle is 113 degrees. The measure of angle AFG, which is this piece, is 8x minus 3. And the measure of angle EFA, which is this side, is 8x plus 4. Okay, so we have everything written down that they've told us. And a lot of times, this is the hardest part for students. Just reading what they've told us here and writing it inside the diagram. Once you get it written inside the diagram, it might not be that bad. Because what we know is that the two smaller pieces add up to be the bigger one. So we're going to take 8x minus 3 plus 8x plus 4, and that's going to equal 113. Again, because, you know, if I took the big angle and I cut it into two smaller pieces, those two smaller pieces would still add back up to be the big angle. So this is the equation that we're actually going to solve. So I'm going to rewrite it on my paper, and then we're going to solve it. So 8x minus 3 plus 8x plus 4 equals 113. Okay, I'm going to draw my line. Well, with any equation in the world, we always look at each side individually first, and we see whether or not we can combine like terms, and we can. I have x and x. So I'm going to put my 8x with my 8x. 8 plus 8 is 16. So I have 16x. I also have a negative 3 and a positive 4 that I can put together. Negative 3 plus positive 4 is positive 1. So I really have 16x plus 1 equals 113. So just to clarify, I put together my numbers and I put together my variables. That's all I've done so far. Combining like terms. Now I just have a two-step equation, and I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. And I'm going to divide by 16. And I don't know what 112 divided by 16 is, but I will find out. 112 divided by 16, and I get 7. Did not know that. So x is 7. And that's what they're asking us for. They said, what is x? So we're just going to write a 7 there. Okay, I think we are going to do 8. Let's see. Yeah, I guess so. I don't think we really need to do 8. We'll skip 8. Let's do 10, and then we'll do 12. All right, next up is 10. So look at number 10 on your paper. Let me get my stuff situated here. Okay. I am a mess right now. Everything's moving. Okay. Look in here, it says GHI is x plus 272. Well, let's figure out what angle that is. GHI. So that's the big one. So this big angle, both pieces together, is x plus 272. And let's read another little bit. It says the measure of angle GHB is 26. So GHB, so this little bit is 26 degrees. And then we have the other side, probably, yeah, BHI, which is 2x plus 110. So we have everything that we need. Piece 1, let's call it that, piece 1 plus piece 2 equals both pieces together, the big piece. Or angle 1 plus angle 2 equals the big angle together. And so we're going to set this up to be an equation. So I'm going to start with this 2x plus 110. Then I'm going to add to 26 plus 26. So that's both angles now. So that has to equal the whole thing. Equals x plus 272. Now this is our equation, and this is what we're going to solve. So I'm going to copy this down on my paper. Number 10. I have 2x plus 110 plus 26 equals x plus 272. Well, the very first thing that I need to do is combine like terms. The 110 and the 26 I can put together. 110 plus 26 is 136. So I have 2x plus 136 equals x plus 272. Now I have a more simplified equation, but it has variables on both sides. So I'm going to fill in the coefficient here, which is always 1 if it's not written. Now I'm going to look at the variables, and we're going to decide which one to move. So I have a 2x and I have a 1x. The general rule of thumb is that you always move the smaller x, because otherwise you'll get a negative. So 1x is smaller than 2x, so we're going to move the 1x. So we're going to subtract 1x. This side will go away. Then we'll get 272 left over here. On this side, we'll keep the 136. And then I have 2x minus 1x, which is going to be 1x. I can either decide to write the 1, or I can leave it off. And that's your choice. If you want to write the 1, you can, or you can leave it off. Just like over here. They didn't write it, but we decided to write it in. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not necessary. I'm not going to write it this time, but it's okay if you wrote it, don't worry about it. Now we're going to subtract 136. And I don't know what 272 minus 136 is. Oh, it's 136. I wondered if it was. I didn't do that in my head, but okay, so x is 136. And that's all they're asking for, 136. All right, we're going to do one more. Let's do number 12. So try it by yourself first, and then we'll look at it together. So I'm going to project it here. Okay, let's go ahead and go through it. It says the measure of QRD is 30x plus 5. So QRD, so that would be this one, 30x plus 5. Then we have the measure of angle DRS. DRS is 34. And QRS, that would be the big one, is 43x. So we have to set up the equation. Don't forget, I take the two smaller angles, add them together, and they equal the bigger angle. So 30x plus 5 plus 34 equals 43x. So this is my equation. I'm going to copy it down on my paper and I'm going to solve it. And this is number 12. Okay, the first thing I notice is that I have some combining like terms that I can do. 5 and 34 are both numbers, so I can put them together. And just to clarify, if I were going to label what, like, if I was going to classify, I guess, like this is a variable, a number, and then on the other side of the equation, I only have a variable. Okay, I can only put things together that are alike. I can only put these two numbers together because they're not a variable, you know. So we're going to put together the 5 and the 34. We're going to add them together. 5 plus 34 is 39. I can't do anything with the 30x yet because there's nothing on that side of the equation that will add to it. All right, now that we're here, you notice that I have variables on both sides of the equation. And when we do that, this is when we make the decision what happens. You know, which one are we going to move? And the general rule of thumb is we always move the smaller one, which would be 30x, which is the best choice because if I get rid of the 30x, then I'll have 39 over here and then I'll have a variable over here, which is what's what we're going to do. So we're going to subtract 30x from both sides. And 43 minus 30 is 13. So now I have 39 left over from here equals 13x. Well, 13x means multiplication, 13 times x. So I'm going to divide by 13 to get rid of it. And 39 divided by 13 is 3. But you'll notice that it doesn't ask me what x is. It asks me for a measure. In fact, it asks me for the measure of angle QRD. Well, QRD was 30x plus 5. So let's write that. The measure of angle QRD was 30x plus 5. Well, I already know what x is. X is 3. So instead of writing x, I'm going to write a 3. Because we solved it. We know what x is now. X is 3. So I'm going to plug it back in. Everywhere there's an x in this expression, because this is what I'm looking for, they're asking me for the measure of angle QRD. And at the beginning of the problem, they said the measure of angle QRD is also 30x plus 5. Once you find out what x is, plug it back in, and then you'll know the angle measure. So everywhere there's an x, I'm going to plug in 3. It just so happens there's only one x. So in my calculator, I'm going to put it in exactly the way I have it there. So 30 parenthesis 3 plus 5. I'm not going to do anything different. Then I hit enter, and it tells me it's 95. So take a look at, it's exactly the same way. And 95 equals 95. And I'm going to write it on my paper. Equals 95. Okay. You do have a color by number thing. We have there's 95 there. If you solve a problem and you don't find your answer on this page, then you need to raise your hand and ask for help. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, I'm here to help you. And don't be afraid to ask questions.